Why am I not down on the Browns? They looked awful. I probably should be. But then I looked at their schedule coming up. Hey everybody, Elliot Harrison with the Game Day Week 7. It's my stock up, stock down, and stocks to watch. I'll tell you what, you'd think I'm going to go with the obvious stuff, and I'm not, except I kind of am, but for a different reason than you think, because this is a little bit of a thought exercise, not just picking winners and stuff like that. So with that said, my first stock up are the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, they beat Cleveland. They beat the brakes off them, 38-7. The reason I had them as my stock up is because the Super Bowl odds as of last week had 4 teams at the top, none of which were the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was Kansas City, Baltimore, Seattle, and Green Bay in that order with no Pittsburgh. And the way their defense played against the Browns, this team might be the most balanced team going forward, because we've seen that Seattle has trouble stopping anybody. Green Bay's got some injuries up front. Do you trust the Chiefs' defense after watching the Raiders go in there last week and play the way they did? And Baltimore had a heck of a time against the banged-up Eagles. So for me, there's no reason Pittsburgh couldn't be at the top of that list when you're talking about Super Bowl odds. It doesn't mean the Steelers aren't going to hiccup here or there, and it doesn't mean that because they blew out the Browns that they're that great, but they're pretty good. Okay, my second stock up are the Philadelphia Eagles, the other team in Pennsylvania. Now you might think, now why in the world does he keep leaning forward? It's because my phone notes keep falling down. It's not my fault. Don't blame me. Secondly, you know what else is not anyone's fault? That Carson Wentz isn't getting any help. Okay, his offensive line has been totally banged up. He's been sacked 25 times. 25 times already. Think about that number. The guy's not getting help, yet they were within 1 score at the end of the game of tying up the Ravens. They needed a 2-point conversion. They had kind of a bad play call, an RPO. Actually, it wasn't even an RPO. Carson Wentz chose to keep the ball, and there wasn't enough room there to operate. They should have tied the game. They should have gotten him on the move outside the pocket. Okay, that's your deep dive on the Eagles for the week. Either way, what I'm saying is the next 2 weeks, they have the Giants at home, they have the Cowboys at home, and they're better than they think, they're better than they think they are, and they're better than you think they are. One last note on the Eagles. I think this is a well-coached football team. Let's not forget they won the Super Bowl 3 years ago, and let's not forget the state of their division right now. Okay, my third stock to watch. Well, it's not really to watch. It's my third stock that I've given the thumbs up on. It's Lavonte David. Of all the players I watched Sunday, week 6, and as impressive as Derrick Henry was, he had 200 yards rushing again. Ryan Tannehill, same football team, looked great. Lavonte David was my player of the week. Now, I give Todd Bowles, the Bucs defensive coordinator, a heck of a lot of credit here. He kept run blitzing. He kept blitzing the A-gap. He did not let Aaron Rodgers breathe. But it's one thing to send blitzers. It's another thing when linebackers know how to do it, when they know how to make that blocking back miss. Lavonte David is not a pass rusher. That's not his main responsibility in that defense. But when called upon to get after it, he made the Packers blockers miss. And he made Rodgers get rid of the ball. He got sacks. He made incredible plays in the run game. And, of course, you saw the Bucs blow the Packers up. They blew them out. They blew them out. It was awful. That game started 10-0, and Tampa Bay went and scored 38 unanswered points. I think the main thing here, though, is if you're going to buy on the Bucs, it's really going to have to come on the heels of their defense, because we saw what happened against the Chargers. We saw what happened against the Saints in week 1. They got off to a fast start, and then the defense let loose and just let receivers run wide open. It happened against the Chargers. It's happening with my iPad right now. But if Todd Bowles and Lavonte David and the rest of that defense can tighten the screws, Tampa Bay can be a legit contender. All right, let's talk about my stocks down. You know, this is going to seem obvious. I'm just rolling it out there. But it's not because of the way they played. The Packers. Forget that they got blown out. I think that was an anomaly. I'm not worried about that. But I am worried about their offensive line, and specifically David Bakhtiari getting hurt. That's their best offensive lineman, one of the best linemen in the NFL, and they could not protect Aaron Rodgers at all. And that might be a blueprint for teams going forward. Watching what Bucs defensive coordinator Todd Bowles did, blitzing the A-gap, doing run blitzes, and then knowing that Green Bay just seems to refuse to rely on their running game. It's worked for them. It's hard to get upset with them about that, but it's not like they don't have good running backs. They've got Aaron Jones. They've got Jamal Williams. They didn't have Tyler Ervin for this game, and they do a lot of their motion stuff with Tyler Ervin. You might say, well, why is that important? When you do motion, you make the defense declare what it's going to do based on how they follow that man in motion. And when they do that, they feel they have more versatility sometimes with Tyler Ervin back there. So that did hurt them. Either way, they can't afford to have a lot of injuries up front. We've seen what that's done to Philadelphia and Carson Wentz. So in the short term, I've got the Packers at stock down. My other stock down also seems obvious, but it's more about the advice I'm giving you here. If you're in a pick'em league or you bet, I would just stay away from the Vikings. They're my stock down because I don't want to have anything to do with picking their games. You don't know what to expect. You watch them against Seattle, and they look good. They were this close. They needed, a half yard on Seattle's end of the field to clinch that game. Then their defense couldn't stop Russell Wilson. But all in all, they looked pretty good. And then they come out and, the Falcons took care of them. Falcons aren't as bad as you think they are, and I don't think Minnesota is either, but Kirk Cousins, you can't trust the way he's playing. You can't trust that team. So if you're in a pick'em league or you're betting money, can you just walk away from the Vikings? Just don't do it, man. Just don't do it. All right, teams to watch, my stocks to watch. Let's go with the Browns first. Why am I not down on the Browns? They looked awful. I probably should be. But then I looked at their schedule coming up. I'm going to read you these teams. Bengals, Raiders, Texans, Eagles, Jags. Think about that. Only one of those games is on the road, and they've got a bye week squeezed in there. Is it possible the Browns could win 4 out of 5 of those games? I think so. And why does that mean something? Because with some of the young players they have, particularly at quarterback, that could be confidence building, especially after a loss like this, which would hurt any team's confidence. That Pittsburgh game got out of hand very, very quickly. But I like the upcoming schedule for this football team. Another stock to watch, the Atlanta Falcons. That's right, the Atlanta Falcons. I know. Everyone thinks the Falcons are awful. Some people think they're the worst team in the league. Their head coach got fired. But they've got the Lions at home this week. After they already beat the Vikings, they have really good football players on that team. I don't think the Falcons are the 4-12 team everybody thinks they are. Some people think they're worse than that. I don't know what they'll finish. Maybe not much better than that. But against the Lions this week, I think I like Atlanta. All right, my last stock to watch are the Tennessee Titans. They look good, right? I mean, their record is good. A lot of people watched that Bills game and thought, man, this is a Super Bowl team, and I get it. But against Houston, it was very, very close. And they're relying on a big running back who gets a lot of carries, got a lot of carries in the postseason last year as well. And so if for any reason he tires out, and I'm not saying for the whole season, but they hit a lull there, then they got to lean on Ryan Tannehill. Now, Tannehill has been wonderful, but they did almost lose to Houston, and that was a high-scoring game. I don't think the Titans are the kind of team that can be playing from behind or be playing in track meets. I'm not saying I'm down on them. That's why they're not in my stock down. I'm just saying I would watch them, and I wouldn't be overconfident about them right now. Their next game is very, very tough, too. It's against the Steelers, so I'm going to be watching that game for sure. It's a good one. Hey, by the way, I'm going to be doing this every week. My stock's up, my stock's down, my stocks to watch. And also, you can like this video. You could subscribe to the Game Day. And maybe you can comment and tell me that I'm totally off. I might be off on all of these. It's okay. I can take it. Really. No, I can take it. Don't disagree with me.